Good afternoon, welcome. It is 1:03 in the afternoon, September 26, 2023, the Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. We are going to have an invocation by Bishop Al Hopkins Sr. He's a pastor at the Redemption Center Church in Crystal River. Thank you, Bishop, excuse me. And we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance by Bud Osborne, our faithful veteran here. If you're willing and able, please stand and join us for the invocation.
Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Most high and all-loving God, before we begin today's work, we pause to give you thanks. For you, the source of all life and love, hope and peace. And we thank you for the fresh start and the possibility of this new day. We recognize your care for every square inch of creation, and we pray that all of us, especially these your servants, these commissioners who have been called to love and serve this county that we call home, just as you love this place and people, now may you strengthen their hands for this good work, and may your presence abide with them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop. Bud?
I'd like all veterans to remain standing after the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you. Thank you, Bud, for that. We need to put that into our regular part of our meeting to thank the veterans like that. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask the clerk of courts to please do roll call.
This is a regular meeting of the Citrus County Board of County Commissioners this 26th day of September 2023. In attendance, Chair Ruthie Schleybaugh, First Vice Chair Holly Davis, Second Vice Chair Rebecca Bays, Commissioners Jeff Kennard and Diana Finnegan, County Administrator Steve Howard, and County Attorney Denise Lynn.
Thank you. Board, I'm going to ask the county administrator if there's any additions or deletions to the agenda.
There is the dental insurance agreement. There's an added signed certificate of insurance. Also, there's some additional information for E15, the live stream agreement, which is executed. Also, F1, we're going to revise an item listed number 8 on there. And also additional item G1, we're going to pull that and reschedule that for the 10/10/2023 board meeting. And that's all, please.
Thank you. Board, I'm looking for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Bays, second by Commissioner Davis with the additions. Additional information?
Yes, ma'am.
Agenda items, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Thank you. B, consent. I'm looking for the approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Finnegan.
Second.
Looking for a second. Commissioner Davis. Is there any public comment on our consent agenda? Hi.
Hi, Janet Barrick, Citrus Springs resident. I looked through the backup, okay? I could not find for B3 a total price or what department that these were gonna be, the vehicles were gonna be used for, and exactly what kind of vehicles were they? Were they cars? Were they SUVs? Were they trucks? And, I mean, out of the 993 pages, there was 3 pages on this. I'd like you to maybe discuss it a little bit more so that the public would be a little bit more familiar with what we are purchasing for what price. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the consent agenda? Okay, close that. Mr. Howard, would you address?
Yeah,
B3?
absolutely. I think, right now there's a shortage supply chain with vehicles across the nation. Obviously, you have the auto strike that's going on as well. And we have a vehicle that needs to be surplus in growth management. And it's a 2005, actually, I think one of you may have been in that vehicle recently, a check engine light and things like that. Also, we have another vehicle that's on loaner from another department. So this was an opportunity to actually purchase these vehicles, competitively bid out at thousands of dollars less impact to the taxpayers in this county. So they would be 2 SUVs. But also, as I said in the Emergency Operations Center, for multiple days, we needed those vehicles if these folks go out. So currently, like the vehicle that's on loaner now for our Deputy County Administrator, I would not allow her to go down these flooded streets for different things that she'd be doing in that vehicle, as well as after the storm, growth management, one of the responsibility is to go out and actually do checks and things like that as well. And we would be able to get these readily available. After talking with our fleet director, if we didn't, time was of the essence. So if we didn't get these vehicles, we may not be able to get them. And currently, there's a lag time of up to 18 to 24 months. So I always look at total cost of ownership. And that's some things we'll be looking at in the future with this county when we bring forward those kind of opportunities. So I see these as a great opportunity. They're assets that we needed, and funding's available. They'll actually be reflective. Some was actually going to be in the current 2024 budget as well as this one. But I stand by my decision to do those. Otherwise, other governments would have picked these up, and we need these vehicles now.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a motion on the consent by Commissioner Finnegan, a second by Commissioner Davis. B3 was explained. All in favor, say aye.
Madam Chair,
Oh, board.
no board questions.
Yes.
Would be in order.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Howard, the one vehicle that's being replaced, can you talk about how many, you said need some engine
It is. It's a
maintenance. Can you talk about how many miles that are on it?
It's a 2005, and that's actually on loan too. So it's 2005, and I know the last time they tried to take that, they couldn't get it to even start. That eventually did that, but I don't know the mileage on me now, but it's a 2005 Blazer. Yeah.
Sounds like it's probably ready.
It's ready to go.
The vehicles that are being purchased, can you talk about those?
Yeah, there are two Tahoes, SUVs. And again, we're getting these at about 20% off of what you'd get them. But the other thing, as you look at these, you're looking at the mission for what they're doing. Obviously, multiple people could be in these vehicles. But also, when we're dealing with these emergencies and things like that, I'm looking at total cost of ownership, so I can get more money out of these when we surplus them. And what happens now, some of these vehicles you have now, I'm going to pick on our Deputy County Administrator now, the vehicle she has on loan, that vehicle, you'd be lucky if you get anything out of it once you trade that in at some point. And again, we have to have assets that we can utilize to do the mission. And I will tell you, as I said at that EOC, for multiple days going out across this county, I would not subject an employee to what they were being subject to, or I would trust them to go down those roads. Not that we're going to go, and we're not firefighters, we're not sheriff's office, but we need the right vehicles for the right application. And I stand behind this decision that we actually have got the right vehicles for these two positions.
So, the two vehicles that are being purchased, this is actually, we're replacing one vehicle, but we're adding one vehicle to the fleet?
We are, what in the past, it's actually, there's a loaner that is currently, actually, they're both really, one's a loaner. That loaner has to go back to another department, because currently there is no vehicle for that, for the deputy or the assistant county administrator. This would be a new vehicle.
That loaner has been on loan from growth management?
Community services.
From community
Yes.
services for how long?
A few months, but it's got to go back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess my question would be, if it's been on loan for a longer period of time, and a few months isn't, I don't know if that qualifies, but is that a vehicle that they necessarily need to have in the fleet then?
Yeah, I think part of that was Marisol was, I think it's one time maybe been her vehicle. When she was
Okay.
there, and I think that there's some, it kind of came with her, that eventually it's got to go back, and I think there's probably a deficit of a vehicle. We're going to look at all that. We're going to look at all the, and right-size the fleet potentially. We're going to come before a proposal in the next month or so after meeting with the fleet director. I think there's a better way of our vehicles and how to get about every 7-year cycles, which I think you literally will balance this out with your budgeting, because we get such a great buy on these vehicles through the Florida Sheriff Association. It's pretty impressive, for
Okay.
what we're able to get at it. But again, I think it's we made the right decision, the right call. We're saving thousands and thousands of dollars, and I will tell you, it'll be hard to get these October 1 because other counties would have already gobbled these up. And
Right.
you'd be sitting here for, 18 to 24 months potentially and without these vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bays?
Vehicle trust fund? Do we,
We do, they do have, I have Aaron, I've talked about that, but there is a process they do now. I don't know if they're calling it that or not. Aaron could come up and talk about it, but there is funding they put in place to start that. I think it appears to me they've done a good job with what they're doing with moving these vehicles through. I think there's a better way, not because of me, but because of our fleet director. I think there's a better way of doing that, which I think if they can turn them over a little bit differently and new standards, you'll actually you're going to pay something to get new vehicles, but I think there's a way to turn them over quicker, and then actually it'd be less impact to your budget here,
all right.
which is the best practice.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
I'm good.
Commissioner Finnegan?
I'm good.
Very good. Thank you. So the consent, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. Proclamations, awards, and presentations. I'm looking for a motion for these 5 proclamations.
Motion to approve, C 1 through 5.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Finnegan. I heard Commissioner Bays. Is there any board discussion on the proclamations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. Please join us down front, board.
Will those individuals representing Fire Prevention Week please come forward? Whereas Citrus County, Florida is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Citrus County, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire, and whereas home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 338,000 home fires, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and fire departments responded to more than 166,400 annually between 2016 and 2020, and whereas 2 of every 5 home fires starts in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking, whereas Citrus County residents should turn pot handles towards the back of the stove, always keep a lid nearby when cooking, keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around the stove, oven, and other things that could get hot, watch what they heat, and set a timer to remind them that they are cooking. And whereas Citrus County residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire, now therefore the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida does hereby proclaim the week of October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week in Citrus County, Florida and throughout the state, and urge all people of Citrus County to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2023, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of Citrus County's fire and emergency services. Executed this 26th day of September 2023.
So, as we mentioned, cooking fires are the #1 cause of home fires, and they're also the #1 cause of injuries in a home fire. So we ask that, pay attention while you're cooking, make sure that you use those safety tips, and also if you're on any type of medication or if you've had some alcohol, maybe it's not a good time to cook. So, I wanted to thank the gentleman for coming here, and then, of course, we have driver engineer Van Buren, just recently returned from a deployment. So we appreciate your support, Commissioners. Thank you very much.
And he wasn't talking about me.
Will those individuals representing National 4-H Week please come forward? Whereas October 1st, 2023 through October 7th, 2023 celebrates National 4-H Week, and whereas 4-H brings opportunity for all, young people bring their strengths and real-world influences to improve the world around them, ensuring opportunities for all youth, enriches their lives, and celebrates their unique contributions to our world. And whereas the message of 4-H is simple, provide opportunities for young people and their families to gain knowledge and skills to reach their full potential to improve communities and quality of life. And whereas 4-H programs are delivered by the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences Extension in Florida's 67 counties, providing experiences for young people to learn by doing. 4-H welcomes people of all beliefs and backgrounds, giving kids a voice to express who they are and how they make their lives and communities better. And whereas expanding from its strong agricultural roots, 4-H helps people explore the world around them and grow into productive adults by promoting healthy youth development in order to give young people the capacity to act as responsible members of society and agents of change, and by understanding the complex experiences young people face while promoting high-quality youth leadership development. 4-H helps young people meet the challenges of adolescence and successfully transition to adulthood. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County does hereby proclaim October 1st through October 7th, 2023 as National 4-H Week in Citrus County, Florida, executed this 26th day of September 2023.
Thank you, Commissioners. We appreciate all of your support for Citrus County 4-H. And we are handing out a little something for you to remember 4-H by and to just show our gratefulness for your support for our programs. The university is happy and tickled to be here in Citrus County, a community that is really on the forefront of all the good things. Thank you very much. Oh, and there's a week in review for you.
Would those individuals representing National Service Dog Month please come forward? Whereas September is National Service Dog Month, a time devoted to raising awareness and showing appreciation for the extraordinary work service dogs do every day to improve the quality of life of our neighbors. And whereas service dogs are specially trained to perform specific tasks for people with disabilities as defined by federal law, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and Florida law, Statute 413.8. And whereas service dogs can be trained to retrieve objects, assist with balance, give hearing, seizure, diabetic, or heart alerts, navigate and guide, carry items, assist with dressing and undressing, medication reminders, getting help, and much more. And whereas service dog handlers may have been born with a disability, acquired a disability as they have aged, or were wounded in service to our nation. And whereas service dogs provide companionship while inspiring confidence, and live to serve and assist their handlers to improve or eliminate physical or mental impairments that substantially limit one or more major life activity. And whereas, with the help of a service dog, humans have equal access to live, learn, work, worship, and play in our community. And whereas service dogs exemplify the amazing healing and restorative power of the human-animal bond, now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, does hereby proclaim the month of September as National Service Dog Month in Citrus County, Florida, and is presented to the New Life Medical Service Dogs and Service Dog Alliance of Florida, executed this 26th day of September 2023.
Thank you, Commissioners in Citrus County. As you may or may not know, Service Dog Alliance of Florida is directly connected with the New Life Medical Service Dogs here in Citrus County, which train handlers and service dogs. What's truly unique is that Citrus County played a primary role in legislation in the state that codified the federal laws to make it a crime to misrepresent a service dog. We are excited about our public awareness campaign in partnership with the county administrator and several other community partners to ensure that Citrus County is in compliance, sets the standard at the state level, and that our business owners have the resources available to them. Thank you.
Will those individuals representing Business Appreciation Month please come forward? Whereas the Board of County Commissioners acknowledges the importance of the businesses located in Citrus County, and the Commissioners wish to recognize and support the businesses and their employees that provide many of the services needed by the citizens of our community. And whereas the businesses in Citrus County provide thousands of jobs that promote the economic success of our community and enhance our high quality of life, including education, recreation, environment, safety, health, and welfare, through the contributions that the businesses make to Citrus County via the wages they pay to employees and taxes that they pay to support Citrus County infrastructure. And whereas the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce is celebrating the month of October 2023 as Business Appreciation Month to recognize the important role and vital contributions that our businesses pay in Citrus County, now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, does hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Business Appreciation Month and encourages all residents, together with the Chamber of Commerce, during their celebration to recognize our business community for the contributions they make to Citrus County. Executed this 26th day of September 2023.
Well, I guess I will speak. I was expecting Josh to do this, but we thank you for this proclamation. We have done this every year now for 15 years at least, for the month of October, where we recognize the contributions of our local businesses to the economy and quality of life in Citrus County, all the wonderful things that they do. During October, we have a lot of events going on where we do recognize those businesses. It starts next week with the BAM Mixer, which is going to be hosted by Wright Rudder Aviation at the Inverness Airport next Thursday, followed the following Thursday by Fire Up Citrus. And this is something that we do every other year, where we invite citizens to apply to submit their ideas for the next best big idea for Citrus County. We're very excited. We just had our selection this morning, so I'm in the process of letting those individuals know whose ideas have been selected. That will be Thursday, October 12th at the Valerie Theater. It is a public event. Tickets are just $10, so we hope you will come to that, everybody. Following that, we do have our BAM Fam tour of Citrus County. This is something, again, we have done now for about 5 or 6 years, where we do have a motor coach bus that takes our folks around to the premier businesses or new developments or things happening in Citrus County, gives you an opportunity to get a firsthand look at what is happening in our wonderful community. The next day is our Salute to Business Luncheon. That is October 20th, and we are thrilled this year that we have Grace Swope, who was, yes, I see that, Rebecca, the former Secretary of Commerce under then Governor Scott, who has since started his own advisory group called Vision First Advisors. We're thrilled that we were able to get him to be our speaker. He's an excellent speaker, and I think you will enjoy that very much at the College of Central Florida. And then, of course, filling out the month of big events is the Big BAM Mixer, once again hosted by M&B Dairy at the barbecue. Sorry, thank you. See, you should be speaking. The barbecue at M&B Dairy. Again, a great time. Tickets are available through our website, and we hope that you will all come and enjoy and share our appreciation for what our local businesses do. Thank you.
Last but not least, would those individuals representing Florida Native Plant Month please come forward? Whereas Florida native plants are critical to the health of bees, insects, butterflies, and other animals by providing food and shelter. Many native plants are endangered or threatened species and must be protected. And whereas the mission of the Florida Native Plant Society is the preservation, conservation, and restoration of the native plants and native plant communities of Florida. The Florida Native Plant Society has been at the forefront since its founding in the summer of 1980 in Winter Park, Florida, of the movement to save Florida's native plants. And whereas the Florida Native Plant Society was founded by a group of scientists, educators, and conservationists concerned with the loss of Florida's native plants and the introduction of non-native species overtaking natural areas. And whereas the society now consists of 33 chapters and 5,103 members from all walks of life who volunteer their time, knowledge, and skills in public workshops, participating in land management reviews, restoration projects, work days, and teaching Floridians about the many benefits of native plants. Florida has an incredible wealth of natural areas to showcase our native plants and native plant communities to our citizens and visitors alike. These natural communities must be preserved for future generations. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, does hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Florida Native Plant Month in Citrus County, Florida, executed this 26th day of September 2023.
So we're here representing the Citrus chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society, and we would like to thank you guys for including us again today and your continued recognition of the value of native plants. I may be wrong, I think I overheard something, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't say that they like scenic natural views. But yeah, okay, that's good to hear. But you know, songbirds and wildflowers, on the food pyramid of nature, native plants are the foundation that everything else is built upon, but oftentimes they get overlooked. So we encourage everyone to go out this month. October specifically is the best month probably for flowers and plants in Florida. So we encourage everybody to go out and enjoy our native plants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are at regular business right now. Item E in our agenda.
Chair, we need to do open to the public first.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was like, oh, I was going kind of fast. Ashley, thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it to the public. I ask that you direct comments to me, the chairman. Please state your name and address. Fill out a green card and give it to the clerk. If you're registered as a group, we'll give you 5 minutes to speak. And first speaker, please. I will hear you, but I'm going to take a break.
Yep, you got it.
Sabrina Watson, Lecanto, Florida. I don't need 5 minutes at this particular moment. I do, however, need an agenda. I understand they're finally coming down. They're dated wrong, so I don't even know how long I'm hanging out here today. But since we're doing advertising, since we did earlier, I just want to point out that at 286sunshine.com, you can find information out about particular items that the county's involved in. You'll find videos there on things your commissioners said and what they spoke on. So what I'd like to talk about at this moment is water resources, apparently. Last time I was here, I mentioned that the county was actually dumping raw sewage into the Halls River. And then I was immediately spoke to by Ken Cheek, who is apparently the Director of Water Resources, who told me that that was not possible. And that you guys have trucks out there to pump those lines out during storms. There were no trucks there when I got my video. I offered to send the video to him, which I did. His response to that video was, "Thanks, these manholes are not actually ours. They are part of the Nature Resorts on-site collection system. We've been working with them for several years to try to get their on-site inflow and infiltration issues addressed. We get significant stormwater and tidal flow increases from their site during storm events and have warned them that they need to remediate their problems." This is definitely good information to bolster that position. So I went to the manager of that business, and it appears that the county actually bought those lines, those sewer lines, about 2 years ago. And the problem started after the county bought the lift stations and started adding more to the tanks and took out the effluent pumps and replaced them with grinder pumps that have a lot less gallons per hour. The pump trucks that the county has been using for months do most of their pumping in front of the marina by Crumps. The excess sewage is coming to both of the county's lift stations sitting side by side, and the county's pumps can't keep up with all the extra sewage water from the River Haven area. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, does Ken Cheek, who is apparently the Director of Water Resources, not actually know what the county owns? Is he unaware of the fact that you own these sewer lines? Then my next question is that are we really forcing people off of their septic tanks onto these sewer lines that we know, I have video evidence, are pumping raw sewage into the Halls River at every major storm event? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Bud Osborne. I live in Inverness. I've got good news. I'm representing TUFAR, a Water and Natural Resources Foundation. The clerk has a letter authorizing me to speak on their behalf. The request for 5 minutes.
Excuse me. Sorry.
5 minutes. Good, that's good, I'll take that. The lakes that are in this area are being overgrown with various forms of vegetation. There are some lakes that are totally impassable with a boat, let alone an airboat. State, county, city, and various authorities haven't really been able to do anything to clean up the lakes. TUFAR has decided to do this. We've done research, done surveys, we've gone to the state and asked for money. There are a lot of places that have asked for money and haven't gotten it. We did. We got $4.2 million. I'm basically here today to tell you what happens to that $4.2 million. Too many times various agencies get grants. You never hear what happened, whether they used it effectively, whether it was used inappropriately. We want to keep you posted as what our progress is. Typical government projects, a lot of paperwork, a lot of channels to go through. We have gotten to the stage now where we're almost ready to start work. We had to hire what we call a contract manager. This person takes care of the contracts, the billing, the paperwork, any of the advertisements. We also hired a project manager. This is the person that works in the field with the contractors, monitoring what they do, when they do it, and that it's done properly. We've put out to bid to go ahead with this project. Bids are coming in. Because of the type of project, we needed to take the potential contractors out. We hired an airboat and took those to the various areas we're going to work with. The first one is Point Lonesome. For those familiar with the area, it's just off Gospel Island Road. We've got bids coming in. Once these come in, we're looking at the middle of October to actually put a shovel in the ground. The first area we'll be doing is going to be 30 acres. We're doing everything in accordance with satellite, because when you get out in the middle of the lake, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. It's not like you're on First Street and Apopka Avenue. But we're making headway. We're about to make progress. I'll be back in a month or two to let you know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Bud. How many people are, I can't see, are lined up? Okay, I'm going to let you three speak. We have a time certain, and then we'll come back to open to the public.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Carmen Kubitschek from Inverness Village 4. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here to ask some questions because, as you know, our roads are still not where they should be. I read the article where Commissioner Davis talked about a failed perk test. What does that mean in terms of what our situation is with the MSBU getting roads and so forth? Also, I understand you were meeting with Swift Mud last week, and I would like to know if you have an update for us on that. Also, the workshop, what's going on with that? We have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. We have established, and one of the judges established, that you own the roads in our area. You are responsible for the roads, maintained by the citizens, but you really own the roads. So early on, when all this construction was going on, since you're really owning the roads, why wasn't that brought to the attention for permits to make sure that everything was in place so that, that we wouldn't be facing what we're facing now, okay? My understanding is that if 4 consecutive homes go up, that's a red flag to kind of let the water management pursue or look into whether or not the developer was meeting, their criteria, okay, in building these homes. We were first told initially that the roads would cost us $6,500. I know we were lied to. That would have amounted to $2,600,000 for the roads. Then it kept going up. Randy Oliver told us that it would be up to 80,000, which would be $32 million for the roads, because they had to purchase homes, demolish them, and get retention ponds. As of yet, we don't have a number. You have mentioned that it was going to be lower because we may not need to purchase all these homes, but we still don't have a number, and our roads still look crappy, okay? I want to address Commissioner Finnegan, if I may. Okay. Commissioner Finnegan had mentioned that she didn't want her constituents to be responsible for the tax, for this build. But I want to mention that I'm being taxed way high. So on an average of each homeowner, 400 homeowners, it would be $6 million over
Okay.
a 10-year period.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Next speaker, please.
Stephen Schwartz, Pine Ridge, Beverly Hills. Commissioners, just for your information, I worked for 20 years at the United States Postal Service, and I was a shop steward, mediator, and assisted in writing contracts. It taught me how to deal with people that are violating the contract or the law. First, you play sponge ball by pointing out their violations. Then you play softball and inform what actions might be taken. Finally, when nothing seems to get the point across, you play hardball, which is doing everything legally and in a peaceful way. I also drove a taxi cab in New York City for 14 years, and that experience taught me how to read people and see many things before they actually happen. People have mentioned the possibility of tort claims for damages against the county for things like potholes that the county is required to fix within 7 business days from the day it was reported to road maintenance. Soon there will be a social media online for a way to list all potholes, that the day they were reported, the location, and how to file a tort claim. Also incorporated on those sites will be the county commissioner's mission statement that in part read, manage growth, and protect the environment. What the Commissioner's obligations are when following the requirements pertaining to the Land Use Development Code in Chapter 1, Section 1300. If Commissioners violate their fiduciary responsibility after being informed of their own codes and the results cause pain and suffering, then that would constitute negligence. Those who voted to approve a development that violates the LDC, the master plan, or public land offering could be sued personally, as the Commissioner's liability insurance may not protect you. An example of that currently would be the gentleman who complained about the building on houses on land designed as a water retention area. I am aware you can legally rezone, but that doesn't protect you from negligence due to the lack of infrastructure like water, fire, ambulance, hospitals, and schools. It's interesting that in our taxes, there is a fee for septic runoff, but the county can pump hundreds of thousands of gallons of raw sewage into the waterways. That is a clear case of negligence, and if anyone got sick or the property was ruined by the raw sewage, they could file a lawsuit, including a class action. Maybe someone should contact the EPA, Fish and Wildlife, Environmental, or even the governor's office. I'm still waiting for a response from you guys to my questions about the infrastructure and intentional sewage release.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Steele. I'm with the Florida Nature Coast Bike Fest, and I just felt an obligation to come and visit with you all. We have been approved by the Inverness City Council to hold a 3-day bike fest at Whispering Pines Park, March 15th through the 17th of next year. But we are a 501c3 organization, not-for-profit, and basically what we're doing, we picked 2 charities that we are going to support for this event. One of them being Jesse's Place, because we felt that was a very important charity that we need. I talked with Kelly, and she agreed that that would be a good thing to do. The second one we are doing is Citrus County Veterans Foundation. I met with a retired Colonel Ebbets, and we had a nice lunch and discussed about what they do, and we definitely wanted to support a military organization also. So we got one for children and one for veterans. And during this time, this is our 3rd annual, but we just moved it up to Inverness from Brooksville. Our first event, we was able to get Best of Hernando County for festivals. We beat out the Blueberry Festival and whatever other ones they have. And we hope to do the same thing here in the Inverness and Citrus County. Now, with that, we have a great partnership with Lohman Law Firm and also with Crystal Harley. They're our 2 main presenting sponsors, with our satellite venue being down at Crystal Harley Davidson during that time, where we will have food vendors, we'll have bands, and just a lot going on, games and so forth. The event that we're having at Whispering Pines Park will be a family-friendly event. There will be no wet t-shirts contest.
Thank you.
Or bouncing around in jelly for women and so forth. So we want this to be a family event for everyone. And with that, we will be advertising very heavily for this event. And just to give you an idea of how we'll be doing that, we have on our website and on our Facebook, we have over 4,000 followers. We reach about 150,000. We are consulting with an app guy that created an app, Bikers Info USA, that has over 125,000 followers on it. What he does, he will link our website to his, and I guess I'm done. But anyway, there's a whole lot going on that we can support Inverness and
Citrus County.
Citrus County.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, we will come back to open to the public, but at this time, we have a time certain Medicaid assessment program, which is H1. Board, if you would please go to that area of your agenda. Mr. Howard?
Yes, if Aaron could come forward, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. This is the public hearing for the Medicaid Assessment Program pursuant to the Citrus County Local Participation Fund Ordinance codified in 2021-822 of the Citrus County Code of Ordinances as adopted on September 14th, 2021. The Citrus County Board of Commissioners will convene a public hearing to discuss, consider, and take action on a resolution setting the rate of collection for a payment due on November 30th, 2023.
Thank you. So we are going to open this portion to public hearing. If anyone would like to speak on H1, please step forward.
Janet Barrett, Citrus Springs resident. I read through a lot of this, and to me, it looks like you're gonna do like another MSBU and throw money down our thing, because it says non-ad valorem, which means non-ad valorem, it goes on after the tax. You're already gonna raise our taxes for ad valorem, and now you're talking about another ad valorem. You did one for stormwater, you did one for fire services. I don't know if I read it wrong or not, but I thought that's what it said, which means anytime you want. It's similar to MSBU that you could raise it every year, whatever you felt like raising it. And it threw me off because, you know, like I've been away for a few months doing different things, but I'm trying to catch up and I just had questions.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Mike Poche from Adelanto Healthcare Ventures. And on behalf of your local hospitals, I want to say thank you for your support of this program for the last 2 years and hope for your support for this upcoming year. Because of your support, the program has allowed hospitals to reduce the Medicaid shortfall, which is the difference between the amount of care that they provide to Medicaid patients and the reimbursement level that comes back, which is about 60 cents on the dollar. This program gets them closer to 80 cents on the dollar. It also increases reimbursement rates for the hospital for the type of services they provide. And it allows hospitals to either create or bolster and enhance existing programs to deliver critical services to this county's most vulnerable populations. There are representatives here from your local hospitals who will offer a word of thanks and also explain to you how important the program is to them. If it pleases the chair, I can call them up to say a few words.
Well, it's open, it's to the public right now, so they're welcome to come forward and speak. And if I may, while we're waiting, Janet, this is just the tax to the two hospitals. It is not to the regular citizens, so don't get them all worked up.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Stockton. I'm CEO at Brevera Health Seven Rivers. And first of all, I want to thank you for your support for this program in the last few years. It's been really critical for that, to bridge that gap. It's allowed us to bring a lot of expanded services to keep, those healthcare services here in our county. Again, it's really been beneficial to the hospitals, and being one of the largest employers in the county, with the expansion of clinics, expansion of, jobs, it's just been really beneficial for us. So I wanted to express our thanks to all the commissioners.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Newmy. I'm the CEO of HCA Florida Citrus Hospital, Again, I would like to echo my thanks for your support of this program and my thanks in advance for supporting this program this year. This is a really important program to our hospital because it allows us to really care for our economically disadvantaged citizens. As the only provider of OB services here in the county, we do see a lot of our citizens that are in need of the Medicaid support and funding for safe mothers and safe babies. It also allows us to expand other programs. We've just recently opened a large EP lab, which caters to our elderly population who often are faced with atrial fibrillation and allows us to treat that. And we're also expanding our operating room services as well. So these funds are critically important to our hospitals as we serve our community. Thank you very much.
And if I may, Linda, you also expanded your women's health, correct?
Yes, we provide women's health OB, labor and delivery. Thank you.
Just real quick, thanks again. And as you've heard, this program helps secure the medical safety net for the Medicaid population in this county, and we thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, staff, clerk, Josh Wooten, President and CEO of the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce. I don't blame Janet for getting up and saying, what is this? Because that's what we all did the first time this came around. I know Commissioner Kennard, I think we even tabled it to dig into it a little deeper, and we found out that it was of great economic benefit to our community. Keeping in mind that Citrus Memorial, well, now it's HCA Citrus, is the largest private employer, I believe, in our county. Seven Rivers is a huge employer. And what they said, safe babies, safe mothers, that's exactly what we're trying to focus on, you know, to build a solid unit so that they're contribute to the economy. So it's all around a good program, and no, it doesn't affect homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm going to close the public portion of this hearing. Aaron?
So, staff recommends, well, we did the public hearing, but B, adopt and authorize the chairman to execute a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, authorizing and adopting a non-ad valorem special assessment within the county for the purposes of benefiting assessed properties through enhanced Medicaid payments for local services, finding and determining that certain real property and interest in property is especially benefited by the assessment, collecting the assessment against the real property, establishing the method of collection, providing for certain other authorizations and delegations of authority as necessary, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Board?
Motion to approve H1, B, and C.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Davis.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any further board comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Congratulations. Okay, H2. Public hearing for SRF Homosassa Springs Septic Tank Phase Out Wastewater Facility Plan.
Afternoon, board members. Ken Cheek, Water Resources Director. This is really just a housekeeping issue for us to get the resolution signed so we can submit for the SRF loan to fund the or the private local portion of the assessment projects in Homosassa. Do you
Thank
recall
you.
we had the financial advisor here to talk about assessments not in Homosassa? This SRF would pay the same thing for the projects we do in Homosassa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, we're going to open up conduct a public hearing to receive public comment on the Homosassa Springs septic tank phase out.
In the words of Ken Cheek, it's just a housekeeping issue. When does the housekeeping start? Does that start before or after we don't talk about the sewer lines dumping raw sewage into the Halls River Road, into Halls River? The fact that I asked him about ownership and he immediately disappeared and that was the end of our email volley is clear, again, either that the county is hiding something or that we have people in the county who don't know what's going on, and I don't know which is which. But frankly, I want to make sure that the public understands that this septic tank phasing out some of these septic tanks is really dumping raw sewage into the Halls River. And frankly, some of these people should be considering suing the county for the damage to our water resources that we all claim to be taking care of. Again, it's just a housekeeping issue, but we haven't heard from Ken Cheek on any of that housekeeping.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I just would like to know how you would pass an RV park, putting in a septic tank, but you're ready to face
You
it.
need to say your name.
I'm sorry.
And where you're from.
Stephen Schwartz.
And bring it down a little
I'm
bit.
sorry. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate that.
We're neighbors, so.
Yeah, Stephen Schwartz, Pine Ridge, Beverly Hills. I just really would like to know a simple question. How you guys went ahead and approved an RV park with a septic tank in a flood zone after I predicted the perfect storm a week before it happened, and now you're gonna start phasing these things out. Why don't you reverse your decision on the RV park? And either get us all on sewers or, you know, get it right.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? I'm going to close the public portion of this. H2, Ken? Where did Ken go?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve item H2B.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kennard, second by Commissioner Davis. Public comment. Is there any further board comment?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Finnegan.
at your discretion, or possibly Mr. Howard's, whether it's now or at the end of open to the public, we have an exemplary employee that I feel like has been attacked multiple times, and I would like some truth to come out. Not only is he an expert in his field, he's an engineer. He served this county for probably upwards of 30 years. Not only is he our water resource expert, but other departments call on him because he has so much knowledge, not only of our community, but with his engineering background, so.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Howard, would you?
I'd be absolutely, if you'd like to, I'd be more than happy to have Ken, if you wanted me to do that. Whatever you, pleasure of the board.
Commissioner Kennard?
No, just because people come up to the podium, I mean, it's our job to listen to what they have to say. But just because somebody starts calling out staff or directors, things like that, with information that they believe to be true, doesn't mean that we bring them up here to have to face every bit of nonsense that comes out. I think Commissioner Finnegan did a great job of laying out there. Ken Cheek is respected regionally, statewide. He has all the credentials. He does an absolute phenomenal job for the county, and I don't think it's appropriate to bring him up to have to face any allegations or stuff like that. I don't think it's appropriate.
I would actually agree with Commissioner Kennard. I do think it's ridiculous. I can see his frustration, and I can tell that he understands what's right and what's wrong. But I guess if Mr. Cheek, I'm trying to see him, if he's happy with us to defend his stance, I will leave that to this board and to Mr. Howard. But I know him well enough, and especially without disclosing his area, I'm happy to have him in my district, and there's no way he would allow the Halls River to be poisoned.
And Mr. Cheek, you don't have to come and defend yourself. I think Commissioner Finnegan did a great job explaining that. I will comment further on but it is at Mr. Howard's discretion.
Yeah, and I will echo the comments from the board. He's an amazing asset. I've been here almost a year, but Ken does amazing work across the county, not just in his field, but he's a PE and other things. So I can tell you his passion is with this county, and you do the right thing when people aren't looking, and I'm confident he does just that.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, I was just going to say that I agree with both of my colleagues that Mr. Cheek has been an absolutely exemplary employee for many, many years. He is the go-to guy for a lot of other senior staff, even in the county, and he's a truth teller and lives on the water, I believe. So there's no way he's poisoning the water with sewage. There's absolutely no way. And I also think that he doesn't need to be called up here to explain everything. So we do that plenty between emails and everything else that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bays? I just want to say one thing. Steve, you brought up about Ozello. There isn't septic out there. We don't see that in, I don't even know how many years till that. So,
Sewer.
I mean, excuse me, sewer. So we have to have septic tanks out there. When our goal is always to get us off of septic. So off of septic onto sewer. Yes. Did I say that backwards?
No, you said it right that time.
So, you know, you say one thing on one way and the other, but we have to have septic tanks out in Ozello right now. So that's where we're at. And again, I'm going to say it again, I challenge you. I want you to predict the next storm so that we can be even more prepared. So that being said, I appreciate our staff and I appreciate their professionalism. And it is difficult to hear things, but I know that we are not pumping raw sewage into the Halls River Road. I do know that, and so we'll just keep pushing back on that. So that being said, we have a motion on the floor, a second, and we've done public comment, we've done board comment, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. That passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Now we're going to go back to open to the public. If you have not spoken yet, please come forward. Janet, didn't you, no, you haven't. Okay, Janet, come forward. Hello, welcome.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Janet Barrick. I live in Citrus Springs.
Yes, ma'am.
First, I want to say I appreciate the information that the county administrator stated earlier about, I didn't say that we didn't need the SUVs. I was just wondering how much they cost. And he still didn't say how much they cost. But that's okay, he'll get to that eventually because it needs to get put into the minutes so that it's on the record. Also, I have worked with Mr. Ken Cheek since at least 2010. And that man is wonderful to work with. He knows what he's doing. He tells you the truth when he says it's not going to get done to a certain date. It's not, but if he tells you it's going to get done by a certain date, it is. He does a lot of water lines, a lot of sewer lines, and a lot of other things. And like I said, since 2010, I've been coming up here and saying good things, bad things. And when it's bad, I tell you how I feel. When it's good, I tell you how I feel, because you need to know. One of the other people that was another manager I didn't get along with. But he retired now. So, but you have to know, we have excellent employees. And you know, some of them you may like, some you don't like. But he gets the job done for the county. And he does a really good job. And I do want to appreciate all 5 of you. So I want all the commissioners to know, you know, I appreciate all of you. And Denise does a wonderful job as the attorney. And eventually I'll get to know Mr. Howard. And he'll get to know me. Yep, you'll eventually get to know me.
I appreciate you too. I tell you, keep me on my
But the thing
toes.
is, the open to the public is wonderful. You give everybody an opportunity to say something. And that's when it can be on all different things. And I hate to say this, but the people that were here a few seconds ago, they didn't stay on the topic of what you were trying to pass or not pass. And I've learned that over the years. You need to talk about what the topic is at that point in time. Open to the public as anything.
I know.
And I know it's hard up there. Been doing stuff myself, but I know it's hard. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Just have a correct point of order, but I let that one slide. Anybody else like to speak? Open to the public? Seeing none, I'm going to close that. Commissioners?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Davis?
I'm just going to lead off with Janet, we missed you. We're glad you're back. You are kind of, feisty in a good way. Mr. Howard, would you like to talk about the money aspect of the vehicles?
Yeah, actually, it's in the, but let me have Aaron come forward, because it's actually on the agenda item, but it's actually going to be in the FY '24 budget carry forward, but it's actually there, but it's in that document. That's why it's not on the actual agenda item, but it's actually in there. I want her to make sure she quotes it right. I don't want to quote this off the cuff.
Hello. It's about $108,000. It is an Exhibit B.
For two vehicles.
I'm sorry?
For both.
For two.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. So it is an Exhibit B under the 501 budget hearing. So we have that in there, as well as when Mr. Howard was discussing, there was one in the budget for next year. You will also see that in Exhibit B because that money is being put back in because we had it budgeted. So you'll see 108 coming out. You'll see 40,000 going back in. If you want, when we get to the budget hearing, I will flip to that page and I will give you the exact numbers.
Super. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
And Bud, always good to see you. And does that mean you got your permits clear? You're not allowed to speak, but you can go up, down. So contact me. I've been involved in that if there's anything I can do to help, because what you guys are doing is amazing with Too Far. Dr. Kubitschek, so I swear you said something else, and that's why I looked at you quizzically, and then I figured out you meant, I thought you said failed protest. I'm like, what? Failed perk test. So yes, it had a perk test that came back less than optimal. So originally thought it was going to be 33 lots condemned, then we came down to 7. Now that number is going northward. I did lay it out in great detail, everything that's going on with Inverness Villages 4. So I was hoping that had answered everything, but it is what it is. They have to go back and look at what that number will be. And it's good to see you as well, Terry. Haven't seen you in a while. I know, but I also haven't gotten phone calls from you, which is unusual. But failed perk, so as far as I'm concerned, the workshop should happen when we have the number in hand. So we can talk about all of the ins and outs and what is exactly, because everything's going to be laid out with detail at that point, once we have that estimate in hand on what and then everybody can start wrapping their head around what that figure is, and maybe that figure is a no-fly zone. We don't know that yet. So doing the best we can. Madam Attorney, what is the exact phrase, one more time, from the legal phrase for we don't own the roads,
We do not own the roads. We control them based upon the plat dedication, but we definitely do not own the roads.
And you said it's in something for the public. That was your other thing.
We hold them in trust for the public.
Yes. So you mentioned a court case. We've already been sued once, and we won resoundingly. So I wouldn't argue with Madam Attorney. I really wouldn't. She does know her stuff on this. So we're trying our best to figure out how to solve it. I also want to clear one thing up. God bless Sound Off. There's no way for me to reply to fix an inaccuracy in Sound Off, so maybe the Sound Off person is listening to this. In no way, shape, or form in my guest column in the Chronicle did I say that the rest of the taxpayers were going to pay for IV4. They're not. They are not. Okay, so it is I believe, someone on here brought up that Commissioner Finnegan had said that she didn't want her, and I have no idea if you actually said that, but if she did, I just want to address that. Her constituents not paying for IV4, they shouldn't pay for it. Absolutely not. So this is on IV4 to come up with a way forward for your community. And I said that I would volunteer to try to put everybody in a room or more on the phone together to try to figure out how to move this forward. So doing the best I can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Finnegan?
To address Commissioner Davis, I don't think I ever said I didn't want my constituents to pay for it, that I heard from my constituents that didn't want to pay for it, but I agree they shouldn't be paying for it. So I would agree with you. So now that that's cleared up, I just want to thank you, Mr. Osborne, for working so hard and diligently in cleaning up the lakes in Inverness, and for the update, because I wouldn't, normally know about what's going on. So that was great that you did that for us. And for Mr. Steele for his good work in the community and putting on these fests and supporting all the good causes, but of course the Vet Foundation, which is near and dear to my heart. So just a round of thank you, and thank you, Janet, for highlighting the good work of Mr. Cheek. That was very nice of you. He was taking some hits today that were not warranted at all. So thank you all. I appreciate your comments.
Commissioner Kennard?
What did I have here? Again, thanking Mr. Steele for bringing that forward. I had heard that there was something in the works for a rally moving up here, so it's good to get some solid information, some facts. And Bud, thanks for bringing forward an update on what Too Far is doing in the lakes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Bays?
I really have nothing else to add. I just want to thank everybody for coming out and sharing their comments.
Thank you. And Bud, thank you. Thank you for doing the pledge today. You're always faithful, and I appreciate that. Mr. Steele, with the Nature Coast Bike Fest, we should have given you 5 minutes, but we'll get your letter on file so that you can next time. Thank you for bringing this event to our county. I believe he left, but this event and the charities they are supporting, I love how he said he's supporting our children and our veterans. And I'm very excited for this March event. It'll be bringing a lot of new people into our county to see how wonderful we are. Please come back and give us more information if you hear this. Janet, I appreciate you. And I appreciate your cards that you send, and I appreciate that you're looking out for Citrus Springs and the roads, and you're always faithful in doing that. And I know you get beat up a little bit, but I do know your heart, and I know when you get passionate about something, I don't take it personally. So keep up the good work. And don't be so cantankerous, but keep it up. And Steve, I'm sorry to keep beating you up, but I don't know of anything that says that we have to fill a pothole in 7 days, or there will be some tort claims. I would like to throw that to Madam Attorney. Do you know anything about we have 7 days to fill a pothole?
No, but if Mr. Schwartz would give us some kind of citation or reference, we'll look into it.
Okay. So
7 business days, not 7.
Well, 7 business days even, that will you get with the attorney. And the other thing was, we didn't allow, somebody came up and said we allowed drainage lots to be sold in IV and we didn't because there were never any designated drainage lots. So we didn't allow that to happen. So I don't know how we would be sued over that either. But I know Commissioner Davis is working very hard and trying to, we're all kind of keeping aware of what's going on, but hopefully she will keep us abreast of what's happening. And I think that's it. Thank you. So we can move along to regular business at this time. Board, would you like to approve the bids in its entirety or approve individually? We have E1A through H.
Madam Chair, motion to approve E1A through H.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Finnegan. Second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any public comment on E1A through H? Okay, seeing none. Board, is there any board comment?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
did we pull E1I and J? I've got in my paper agenda. Let me go here.
I have to H.
Apparently, the printed agenda is different than
What was your motion for?
You went I through H, that's what I.
Yeah, I have I through H,
All right.
or
I'll
1
go
through
with
There was
H.
something corrected. I don't see.
A through H, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
E1, A through H.
Is that correct, Mr. Howard?
Yes, that's what I have.
Yeah, it matches on mine, online and print.
Okay.
So, the one I printed at home does have I and J. The one I was given today does not. You're right, Commissioner
Yep.
Kennard.
I'm online with it now, it's through H. Thank you.
Okay, so E1, A through H, I have a motion by Commissioner Finnegan, a second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any further board comment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E2.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. So did we find out, was I and J pulled, or is this a mistake?
He said that it was to H.
That's all I have is here. I'd have to look at what you have in front of you, but
What was the
Yeah.
description
This
of the
is
ones you
what I
printed?
Printed
Yeah, I don't know.
at my house. Okay. I have a new one, Doug.
So
Let's see
which
if
one
one
has the I and H?
Me on the 12th.
It was last,
Yeah, she just printed the
what's
wrong
the
one.
date?
No, I didn't.
They're gonna be brought on the next meeting.
Oh, okay. I don't understand. Okay, so we're correct, you're correct with the H, okay, that passed through, so we are on E2.
I might want that back. I don't know if I have notes on that one or not.
E2,
you.
budget transfers.
Motion to approve E E2?
A motion-
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Davis, I heard Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment on E2? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. E3.
Motion to approve E3?
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Bays. Is there any public comment on the budget resolutions E3? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? Just say that this is grant money and, board, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. Had a little Alzheimer moment there for a second. Okay, E4.
Motion to approve E4?
Thank you, Commissioner Finnegan. I'm looking for a
Second.
second. Commissioner Davis. Is there any public comment on E4, A and B? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? And Commissioner Finnegan and Davis,
Yes, A and B. ma'am.
thank you, ma'am. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes. Are you an aye, Commissioner Kennard?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Bays, that passes 5-0. E5, landfill tipping fee waivers.
Motion to approve E5?
Commissioner Davis, looking for a second.
Second?
Commissioner Finnegan, is there any public comment? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? Like I told Mr. Hall, I looked through this list twice to see if there was anywhere we could cut to help. And these are all very good causes that are being waived for their tipping fees. So, board, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E6.
Motion to approve E6?
Second?
Thank you. A motion by Commissioner Finnegan, second by Commissioner Davis for Sugar Mill Woods Golf Course Reuse Project Amendment 1. Is there any public comment on E6? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. E7, amendment to reuse agreement for the Link Golf LLC.
Motion to approve E7?
Second.
Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment on E7? Seeing none, is there any board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E8.
Motion to approve E8.
Thank
Second.
you. Commissioner Finnegan, second by Commissioner Davis. Amendment number 4 for the grant agreement. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E9, Core Civic Contract.
Motion to approve E9.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Finnegan, second by Commissioner Bays. Is there any public comment? Janet, please.
Janet Barrett, Citrus Springs. I've sat through a lot of these with Core Civic. Core Civic is not meeting their obligation to the county for running our jail. Every month, it's another one of these charges, another one of these. It's at least 9 months. I know that the contract comes up somewhere around June-ish for a one-year time. I really think that at this point in time, the commissioners and Mr. Howard should start looking into other people to operate our county jail. Because if they can't meet it, there has to be someone out there that can meet the obligation and run it the way we would like it as a county run. Okay, because every month, more money they gotta give back, more money they gotta give back. I agree, charge them this. I'm not saying don't charge them, but I'm saying it's time to maybe step up and start looking for somebody else. Oh, and I taught in corrections, so believe me, there are other people out there.
Thank you, Janet. Next speaker?
Madam Chair, Josh Whitten, President and CEO of the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce. I have to disagree with my friend Janet. The last thing you want is to be in the jail business, or that would be like saying because the sheriff is not fully staffed up that we need a new sheriff. Everybody's having this problem. They are working diligently to correct that problem. They're paying the fine. And I believe Mr. Howard has worked with them. You now have a contract administrator. There's not too many people in the business. And we're not here, y'all aren't getting phone calls about the jail that I know of. And it's not a very good business for the county government to be in. And the devil you know might be better than the devil you don't know. So I just wanted to defend it and defend y'all as holding their feet to the fire and making them pay the fine. But they're actually doing some pretty good things and trying to educate their their people, and they're more than willing to work with Commissioner Bass on mental health issues and getting people their high school diplomas. So I would say let's stick with them.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this subject? Seeing none, board comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E10, the MOU for the Crystal River, Save Crystal River.
Motion to approve item E10.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Kennard, a second by Commissioner Finnegan. Is there any public comment on E10? Any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E11.
Motion to approve E11, A, B, and C.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Kennard. This is the special event marketing grant applications. And is there any public comments on E11? Seeing none, is there any board comments?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's not a lot of money, and I thought Josh would come up and talk about it. You know, we this would actually be where TDC should spend money, especially for new events and bringing money to Citrus County. But honestly, the chamber, I can't imagine that they need this money. This event is expensive and it goes on every year. I would just be remiss if I didn't say anything. I mean, if they said, wow, we need this money to market, but I know the TDC has been, sharp eyes have been looking at everything there, so I want us to start using that money differently. I'm not necessarily opposed to the funding, because I understand it's good for these events are good for our community. I just think the chamber charges a lot, makes a lot of money. I don't understand why the county is kicking in. So if the board chooses to approve it, I will approve it. I'm not opposed. But we need to start looking at some of these things.
Okay, any further comments? Commissioner Kennard.
Well, with all due respect to my colleague on the other end of the dais, I was surprised in going through this that that's all they asked for. These are two major events that don't just market to, we're not just trading dollars in the county, but they're drawing in a tremendous amount of outside money. Folks that come and stay, folks that come leave money here, spend money here. So the $1,500, I think there's a lot of places we can look, and we should, in the way that the TDC had previously been spending money. But I think these are two easy investments to make in bringing visitors and money to the county.
Thank you. Commissioner Bays?
Madam
I would
Chair?
concur.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, so we actually have a limit of, it depends on how many heads and beds that the event puts in Citrus County, and that's why the limit is 750 or 1,500. And so those are the upper limits of that category. Secondly, 4 of the 5 cents must be used for advertising, period, full stop. Only 1 cent can go to, helping Whispering Pines develop capital sort of projects to help both, ostensibly to help only tourists, but certainly there's some great benefit to residents as well. So of that 4 cents, we look for ways to leverage. It's just like co-op dollars. So you handle various air conditioning manufacturers, correct? Do you ever get co-op dollars from them? All this is co-op dollars to help a local enterprise that is bringing visitors in, and we're putting the funds together. The chamber certainly runs a pretty doggone lean ship over there. So these events are huge fundraisers for them, which then turns around to keep business membership quite affordable, which then helps the engine of the economy prosper in Citrus County. So it's all kind of interwoven. But they do bring a great many visitors into the county to put heads in beds, and all of that has to be verified for us to continue to renewing them year after year. They're not the only one. We renew a lot year after year if they are delivering on what they said they would do. So hopefully that clears it up.
Yes, thank you. The only thing I would add on that is this grant money for advertising brings these people in, and they're spending money at our restaurants, and not just the festivals, but at our restaurants. And that helps our economy. So if there's nothing further, we all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E12.
Motion to approve item E12.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennard. Second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any public comment on E12, Citrus County Health Department contract? Okay, seeing none, any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E13, Florida Blue Insurance Renewal.
Motion to approve item E13, A and B.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennard. Second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any public comment on E13? Seeing none, any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E14, dental insurance agreement.
Motion to approve E14.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kennard, second by Commissioner Davis. I have additional information, signed certificate of insurance, awaiting signed business associates agreement, awaiting signed administrative services only agreement from Florida Combined Life Insurance Company for dental insurance. Mr. Howard, can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, let me get, staff could come forward on this as well. But
I don't see June in the audience.
she's actually got a, I don't know if Erin could elaborate on this a little bit on the budgeting side. She's actually, I know she's
Is
got a
June at the dentist?
She's got a sprained ankle,
Oh.
unfortunately. Not that, unfortunately.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at the chair's quip.
And there's obviously, in the E14, there's some additional documents we're waiting on. That'll be the next one, but, which the county attorney will be working with us to execute those.
Erin, you've been promoted to HR. Put you on the
I'm
spot.
so excited.
I think that puts her in charge of 3 divisions right now.
4.
4?
4.
But just to, if
I'm
we're in, sorry,
rocking
we have talked about this item previously with each of you with this, but I thought Erin at least can verify that it's going to be in the budget, obviously,
Oh,
2024.
this is budgeted for. From my understanding, they were still working on getting the contract. So that's why it says under budget impact. This is funded for fiscal year '24. This contract does not take effect until 10/1 of '23. So this does not start until our fiscal year '24.
Okay, very good. That's what I was looking for. Okay, is there any questions for Erin, board? Okay, thank you. Any public comment on this? Any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. E15, Lifestream Behavioral Center Agreement for Citrus County fiscal year 2023-24. We got a signed agreement added to this.
Motion to approve E15.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Kennard. I heard Commissioner Bays first. Is there any public comment on E15? Seeing none, is there any further board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. That passes 5-0. E16.
Motion to approve E16.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Finnegan, and Commissioner Bays, you were doing a motion.
It's all right, you can give it to
Give a
Davis.
second to Davis, okay. Is there any public comment on E16? Any further board comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. F1, outstanding commission items, informational only. Mr. Howard.
Just a couple items. Number 8, I'm actually going to hold off. I think we're going to probably look to update this a little bit after the budget adoption tonight. But part of that was to talk about the residential road resurfacing program, also the functional classified roads, as well as the FY23 road resurfacing contract work that was completed. So we've added that, but we want to make sure that we're going to keep this a little bit more in real time for the public to be able to see that. Also, number 9, there's been a lot of discussion about a comprehensive plan amendment, coastal high hazard area. If Eric could maybe come forward just to talk about that a little bit, so you're aware of that. Also, I'm kind of call it the 7-Eleven issue, but I've also sent a letter to DEP with our staff and others, partners, just to ensure that if there's any reports that come from that we share that with the Board of County Commissioners. So if Eric could just kind of talk about what you're doing from the direction of the board that we've heard of the last couple of meetings with this subject.
Sure. We have a series of LDC amendments coming up in the coming months, one of which would be to, if there's a proposed gas station in the coastal high hazard area, then it would be required to come in as a planned development, which would require the board to see it. As of right now, if you're commercially zoned, they're allowed by right, and they can just pull a permit and go to work. So in the more sensitive critical areas, they would be required to come before you for approval on a case-by-case basis.
And the PDC is scheduled for October 5th, 2023, and then the board consideration on 11/28/2023 for consideration.
Very good. And I hope the community hears that we didn't really have any right to stop that in a high coastal area, but we're hoping to be able to examine them better in the future.
Correct.
And I compliment staff. I say our stakeholders, Will and the Department of Health, I mean, they were there. Staff was there, and I think we have commissioners that actually, not together, but independently. So there was a lot of interest from this county with the activities that were going on there. So this was not that staff wasn't interested or this Board of Commissioners. They were actively engaged on this subject.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I went out there, I personally talked. Commissioner
Eric.
Bays?
Can we actually do a public records request to DEP to ask what exactly staff is questioning? There is a statute for that. It's 403.412 for Environmental Protection Act. If we actually send a letter of public records request and ask them what it is that staff questioned on the 7-Eleven, then I think we can have better direction.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Finnegan.
Sorry, Eric. I just wanted you to point out, it's not only gas stations with that change, correct? There's a few other
There's-
types of businesses
correct.
that would come before us.
Correct. Anything that might propose a hazard.
Yes, thank you.
So, what other
I
businesses?
think it's like dry cleaners and automotive.
Automotive
Okay.
repair, yes.
Okay.
I think that's
Makes-
it.
I
That-
think, yeah, anything where chemicals could potentially
Chemicals.
spill on the ground, correct.
Okay, very good. That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Commissioner Kennard?
Yeah, I'd like to see if we can add the connector multipurpose path from Three Sister Springs Trail over to LaGrone Park. If we can add that to this list, just to see if we're making progress, where we're making progress, and what a completion date looks like.
We will add it and take care of it.
Do you need a board consensus on that?
I've got direction.
Okay, you got direction. Okey-doke. Anything else, Mr. Howard?
Nothing else, thank you.
Okay, very good. So, you added the additional items, 8 and 9, and we pulled G1,
Correct.
H2, I. The Historic Resource Advisory Board announcement, please. This is an announcement only, no vote. We announced 5 regular board members and 2 alternate board members vacancies and the taking of applications for these positions of the Historic Resource Advisory Board that will expire on September 30th, 2027. So there are going to be 7 open positions. Very good. Can we tap into any of those library board people applications? That was very popular.
Yes, we hope we have the same highly qualified pool.
Very good. Thank you. Board, do you have anything to say on this? I can't see Commissioner.
No, ma'am.
Okay, and then J, committee reports from commissioners. Start with Commissioner Finnegan. Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, ma'am. I had TDC the morning after our last meeting, and I've had a couple of pretty straightforward conversations with Mr. Howard to make sure that we got these things underway again. Our former employee did not do us any favors, and with playing fast and loose with the rules, and so travel got shut down. The problem is that when travel gets shut down to various trade shows, then we lose the opportunity to meet people that are essentially established travel bloggers with lots and lots and lots of followers. And so a couple of key early indicators of really putting in peril our tourism industry here was that web traffic was down 15 to 35%. Depending on which page you're looking at. On discovercrystalriverfl.com. And some people said, well, that was just the hurricane, and no, actually, we usually spike during hurricanes. So the delta was probably actually a little bit larger than that. The second thing is that we typically have a full slide, if not 2 full slides, on our presentation of FAM tours, familiarization tours, and those are the travel bloggers that come here, and typically the businesses that are in tourism will actually host at their expense a lot of this of these familiarization tours. So they'll go airboating in Inverness. They'll go to dinner at, various places around the county. They'll go scalloping. They'll go swim with the manatees. They'll bike the Withlacoochee. I think one of the more recent ones went horseback riding in the forest. So they do that, then to their fans, they talk about what a great place this is to visit. So having that decline is very scary, because if anyone knows sales and marketing, there's something called a sales funnel, and you have to feed the top of the funnel. And there is no getting back any long gap in feeding that funnel, because people kick out the bottom eventually, and it takes a while for them to actually make the decision to come visit our amazing county. So I raised the alarm that we needed to get travel, and Mr. Howard rightfully said, the problem, there's some things that need to be cleaned up on our travel protocols to make sure that we are really watching every single penny of TDC funds. Totally agreed with that. There was one sticky thing, and I said, just bar it. Just bar that one thing. Let's move on. Let's get back to traveling. So we're going to have that on our next meeting, I believe, but he listened, and I'm very grateful for that. I know some people in this county are worried that we have too many tourists. Sometimes I'm one of them, because I grew up on Crystal River in the 70s and 80s, and it's a little different now to go out on the boat in Crystal River. And so we are looking, I've been pushing this board, and I think with a new director, hopefully that will be better heard. I've been pushing this, the TDC board, to consider more of looking at destination management more than destination marketing. This is not a 180. This isn't even a 20-degree course correction. This is more like a 5 to 10% course correction. But that is to make sure that we are really taking care not only of our tourism industry, which those tourism businesses interact with all other businesses in this county. So that's one of our main economic drivers, and we cannot cut that off or imperil it. But what we can do is what we've discussed up here, is having that 5th penny go to some pretty nice, big, tasty, big swing projects that benefit not only tourists in areas other than Crystal River, as attractions to expand our portfolio, shall we say, but also gives a benefit to the local residents. And tourists do save, I wish I had that number off the top of my head, I want to say it's about $400 or $500 a year on our taxes. No, there's not a line item coming off your taxes. It's just without tourism, we would be having to have that much more ad valorem from our residents. So it is a benefit to all of us. It's, as my mama always said, everything in balance. So it's everything in moderation, everything in balance. So it is a sticky wicket sometimes. And I think that's it. I've hogged a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bays, any committee reports?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yeah, we had a KCCB meeting a week ago Monday, and we got a report on the coastal cleanup. They had 14 different groups, which is down from years past when there was much greater participation. They had up to 30, 35 different groups participating. So there's going to be a push over the next year to try and get more businesses, more civic clubs to put together a group to go out and do this. But nonetheless, they had 14 groups. I don't have a total tonnage yet for how much trash they picked up, but there are over 300 people that participated in it. That was Saturday the 16th that took place. There is something coming up here. We don't know I don't have an exact date yet. It looks like it's probably going to be in January. Doing a litter survey is the way the discussion started out. That's been done every year. The county is divided conveniently into 5 districts, and each of those districts do a survey of the different roads and how much litter is out there. I suggested at the time that perhaps we might want to make this a little competitive, and each of the commissioners have their team for their district actually picking up the trash while we're out there, rather than just surveying what's there and reporting back what the roads are looking like. Let's get it bagged up while we're out there and see not only how much trash can be picked up from along the roads, but how many people we can get involved, how many different organizations can we get involved in taking pride in what their roads look like in each of our districts. So I'll have more on that as we get closer, but the talk at the meeting was that would happen in January. November 17th, KCCB has organized, as they do every year, a recycling tour. We use 2, I think in the past they've asked for 3, have gotten 2 transit buses, but those transit buses get filled every year for people to go out on a tour of the different recycling operations that exist in the county. So it's a good eye opener, good informative tour for the folks involved in that. And let me see here. Lastly, the Adopt a Highway program. There was some discussion about that. Yes, we have the program in the county. How much is it actually being promoted? If each of the 5 of us up here were questioned about it, how much information do we actually know about the county's Adopt a Highway program? That's a great way to get, again, civic groups, businesses involved in maintaining 2 miles of highway that has to be picked up quarterly. And I had suggested that maybe the board needed to have a discussion, or perhaps it could just happen at administrative level, that there should be something prominent on the county's website that would draw people to it when you go to that website, that, Adopt a Highway, get your organization involved, and then either give you a contact or just some brief bullet points. And here are some areas that are available to adopt. Get some people involved in that. So that was a discussion, a lot of talk, naturally, keep Citrus County beautiful, but there's a lot of talk about litter. And yes, we talked about adding the additional litter crew that we've agreed on, but also how can we get our community involved in doing this, taking pride in the roads we travel. That's it.
Thank you, and I would love to get in that challenge. I look forward to that. I think I have the most people in the smallest area, so I might have a chance of winning something. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I won't go as far as to say it's brilliant, but it's a very, very good idea, and I appreciate that.
And I'm the only commissioner that lives on a primary road that they drive down the highway and toss it out.
Yep, well, you're going to be getting your steps in.
I'm going to get mine in right away.
Yeah. So, okay.
Mr. Howard had something?
Yes,
Actually, that's
sir.
good timing. Actually, I have a meeting with Keep Citrus Beautiful on Friday. We've been trying to get together for the last about 60 days. And actually, when I first came on board, I passed all these signs that say available. And I think those are low-hanging fruit. So I'm trying to work with that partnership. I'm encouraging staff, but all those things are important. But actually, I want to strengthen the relationship that we have with all these organizations. I think we have an amazing opportunity with your leadership. With now we have 4. Now we have 8 folks that are working across the county doing that. But I've got that on target for Friday, so I'm looking forward to that meeting one-on-one and strengthening those relationships together. And there's great things collectively we can do, and there's some other things. I think we can have some competitions even with the school systems as well. There's some things we're going to talk about that on Friday. So that's all good stuff, and I'll report back any other information I have.
Great.
Thank you. I had the Veterans Services Advisory Board, and I was going to actually ask our attorney, the Bridge for Veterans Incorporated, they currently have 6 homeless vets. even though people talk a lot about the homeless vets, we really don't have that many, but those that we do have, we need to help them, and the veteran community has been great in supporting them. But I wanted to do a fundraiser, and I didn't know if, as a commissioner, I was able to do a fundraiser, or if I had to have my husband do the fundraiser, you know, for the the bridge for veterans.
We can talk about that.
Okay, because I would like to help them out to make sure that they get a home and figure that out, because it's amazing what they do for. Right now it's 6 gentlemen, but there's been a couple female veterans that are living in their cars, and we don't have anywhere for them to go. So it's something important that I would like to look into. The veterans are being serviced so well by Phil Watson, and you know, we have veterans that have moved from Citrus County to Ocala. They're still coming back to us, but then if ours have moved to Ocala, they have to still come back to us. So we're trying to build that bridge with Marion County, so that if they're now living in Marion County, they don't have to drive all this way. But Phil Watson's on top of it, doing a great job. I don't think there's anything else. Marisol, you weren't there that last meeting, but we have a great group, and we've got a couple new veterans to our community that want to help out. So I would call anybody that's a veteran that would like to get involved to please contact Phil Watson and put your name on the list. So that's what I have for my committees. I'm going to move on to commissioners. If you have any announcements or things you would like to discuss, Commissioner Kennard, start with you.
Nothing.
Commissioner Bays. Commissioner Davis.
I was at Florida Association of Counties 2 weeks ago, and I'll skip all the legislative things except to say there were 2 of importance. One is back to visitor and convention bureaus. Monroe County is trying to get the committee to push for the 5th penny to be usable for affordable housing, because the lowest cost home in Monroe County is $1 million. So people are having to drive down from South Florida to actually do service jobs in Monroe County. I sincerely doubt it's going to get out of committee. It was referred back for a longer discussion in committee, but there are other counties that are trying to not only keep themselves marketed, but pushing back on the issues that tourism causes. Related to that, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal last week that talked about how Venice, Italy is at the point of no return. It is so heavily turned to tourism that there's not even local hardware stores, and you dissolve your community when everything turns to Airbnb and hotels. And that is something that we're not in danger of doing, but we need to keep our eye on the ball in certain areas of the county for that. What did pass with resounding success with the committee is, and for the 2nd year in a row, we're lobbying Tallahassee to roll back the mandate that code complaints have to be not anonymous. And so I spoke up. I said, I'm one of those commissioners that, you know, if it's a scared little old lady that doesn't want to report on the meth head next door, I will go by and I have to, legally, I have to go view the property before I can turn it in under my name, and I will do that. And several commissioners said they do the same thing, and so we're going to push Tallahassee for home rule once again, so counties can make that determination whether we will do anonymous code complaints or not. So that is definitely going to go forward to Tallahassee. That was passed. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, and since we're on you, I will.
Oh, well, Inverness Village is 4. It might be Eric's showtime.
Okay.
Sorry. We keep doing Inverness Village's 4 update during first open to the public, so, and now they're gone, the folks from there.
So maybe we don't need to put it.
Maybe I could take it off. It's fine, yeah. But you have an update, so you may as well give it to the commissioners.
Well, only to add that there's about a dozen cases for the October special master hearing for code enforcement. So,
Oh.
so those will be going, and those are for largely for lot clearing without a permit.
And what's the date of that, October? Do you know?
I can get that for you.
Okay.
It's in on my phone.
Yes, thank
We might want to leave it on just for that quick Eric update and move on, so.
But they're working to make sure that the lots are cleared on a weekly basis. From what I understand, that they've had a lot of success as far as just trash and debris with, in recent months. So those tickets have gone down, but they still have the pending ones for the lot clearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I think that, I mean, we could bring Eric up earlier, so,
That
because
open
they
to the
all
public?
leave, yeah.
Yeah, we can take care of it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I was looking at the two that were up front, so I don't necessarily recognize
Well,
everyone
then
from
we'll
ID4.
leave it there for you, okay. Yes, there will be another open to the public, yes. Okay, Commissioner Finnegan, anything you would like to talk about? Okay, and I have nothing. County Attorney Denise Diamond Lynn.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Howard?
Nothing further.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public, so if you'd like to come forward, you have 3 minutes to speak unless you have a letter on file. And please fill out a green card and announce your name and where you live. Just said you were in Inverness Village 4, so, and please direct your comments to me, the chairman. Thank you.
You can actually,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
You can fill that out.
Later?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Ross Frederickson from Inverness Villages 4. Trying to live the American dream here, sold everything we've got, moving down to the lovely state of Florida. It's pretty obvious, probably one of the dumbest decisions we've ever made. I hate to say that. But listing and very nice article, Ms. Davis, in the paper.
Thank you.
We've been staying on top of things. It's more than apparent and obvious that our assessment for the landowners, property owners in Inverness Villages 4 is going to exceed the $6,000 that we were promised when we got into this debacle. My question for you is, and I just can't wrap my head around it, how water and how power can be brought into a development of over 300-plus homes, and the county is not aware and seeing and watching what's going on. I have a hard time trying to figure that out in my head. At the same time, question for everyone is, and referencing your article in the paper, with the so-called parties that are involved in this entire development, it's obvious something criminally is going on here, in my opinion. And my question is the county attorney looking into these things, and at the same time, should the Florida Attorney General be getting involved? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Hi, thank you, Chairs, for letting me speak here. Robert Jarzewski, pretty much backtailing what he just said. Questions I have is the fire hydrants in the development. We just currently did a walkthrough of a future home in which we're fighting, as he just stated. I have no water pressure. What is the flow of the hydrant pressure? What is the PSI? Did the county take a PSI test on each hydrant? Am I going to have to worry about my house burning down? Am I going to have to worry about my house not being able to get to by the fire department or other EMS staff because of the road conditions? It's atrocious in there. I mean, you know, you're asking us to pay taxes on property that is, it shouldn't even have been a development. I mean, how can you build a development without infrastructure? Second thing is, can't we apply to the federal government for help, for roads and drainage and all that stuff? There's grants out there for everything. Why can't we looking for help that way instead of burning the taxpayers?
Can I, out of order, but what street do you live on and how long have you been there? And I would ask the same.
Crestwood, and we haven't taken possession of the house yet due
Okay.
to the problems that are going on.
Okay,
I
very
also
good.
missed his name. What is his name?
And your name is Joe?
No, Robert
Robert
Jarzewski.
Jarzewski. I'm not gonna spell that. Okay.
I'm just worried about my property. I'm worried about fire response, and I know I don't have any water pressure in my home, so that leads me to say, I have a fire hydrant outside my house. Is it adequately PSI'd? What is the water flow test?
Okay, we will answer your questions.
Thank you.
And sir, what street are you on? Did you hear him?
Tabor.
Thank you. And how long have you been there?
Still waiting for the home to be completed.
Very good, thank you. Janet, do you have something to say? Were you gonna come forward? And then I'm gonna listen, we're gonna hear from Eric and hopefully
Fire.
we can hear, I've got it. We're gonna hear from Eric and then hear from the fire chief. You can fill that out, sir, and
Okay, here it comes.
Janet?
All right, well, to the end of the budget year, gonna start a new budget. Well, once the yearly taxes are trimmed and cut and passed again, later today, hopefully, we need to start focusing on needs for the residents of Citrus County. So I'm back to my favorite topic, residential road resurfacing and repaving. Okay, and we know we still have to do it. It didn't go very far. If you take a ride through Beverly Hills, though, it looks like brand-new Beverly Hills, like back in the 70s, because almost every road in there has been repaved. However, don't go anyplace else, because it looks like who did it and ran. Okay, so I'm still suggesting that we start getting, we got to get this on, if we're going to get it on the ballot for next year, like, Commissioner Kennard had suggested a year and a half ago that, we wait for the election cycle. Okay, we got to do something. 1/2 cent is okay. But it really needs to be 1 cent in order to get us into the proper cycle so that the repaving is done on a 20 or less year cycle. So we need to think about it. Now, being a resident of Citrus Springs, I understand the IV4 dilemma, but they really don't know a lot about developing in Florida, or at least not in Citrus County, because the developer does the roads, just like they did in Citrus Springs. And until the roads are in, the county does not maintain them. But also, Mr. Cheek does a wonderful job of getting the water and the fire hydrants in so that they're in the property area. So I'm gonna let Eric do some more of this stuff and explain it in detail. But it takes a while to understand, develop it, and down here in Florida.
And Janet, just so you know, when I was elected into office, what was the first thing out of my mouth the first meeting? That penny. So you're gonna throw it to Commissioner Kennard, I'm gonna take that back. Eric, and then Fire Chief.
I was just going to add, the next special master hearing is October the 18th at 9 a.m., and that's at the Lecanto Government Building.
October 18th at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Thank you. And did you want to address any of the comments from these two?
I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
They had, Commissioner Finnegan.
It's my understanding people were talking about the water and the water pressure and how can we put out water. I believe that's the city of Inverness, not the county, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So if that answers people's question, the water that was ran out there was not the county, it was the city of Inverness. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there another question?
Madam Chair, they
Yes.
ran it without pulling a permit from the county, so it was a big surprise to us, and it was after the fact.
So it just keeps getting uglier and uglier. That's the problem. And we're trying to peel the layers of the onion. But is the city of Inverness going to be working on that water pressure and making sure those fire hydrants do work? I'm going to ask you because,
I honestly, I can't answer that. That's the utility owner is responsible for that. So the city of Inverness would be responsible for that. And I don't know about any future plans of interconnection with the county lines. So I honestly, I can't answer that.
okay. And gentlemen, you've spoken, so I would suggest that your wives come forward and speak during this time. That would be my suggestion to you. Do you have any questions for the chief, Commissioner Finnegan? Do you you have anything? Davis?
I was just going to also say to the people that are from IV4 or building homes, hello?
Just,
Hello? I'm trying to address them to say, stick around after the meeting and I'll speak to them individually. Okay, did you hear that? I said, I will stick around after the meeting and speak to y'all individually.
yes, Commissioner Finnegan.
And I think the gentleman said he was questioning hydrant pressure. I don't think that he knew that there was a problem. I mean, it could just be a problem on his property to that house with no water pressure.
You can't speak from the audience, so could your wife step forward and public comment?
I didn't want to speak for you, sir. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying, I don't have any water pressure at my house, and there's a hydrant there. We're worried about the hydrant. So
Which he probably should be worried about, and we'll, somebody needs to look into that.
and
Commissioner,
Chief, that would be the city of Inverness, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Bays? Okay, I'm gonna let Commissioner Davis speak to you afterwards and get your questions together, and she can bring them forward, the next meeting. Josh, do you have something you want to say open to the public?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I just wanted to point out, just a point of order, and certainly we never resent being questioned about finances, because I love the fact that y'all question every expenditure. But the $1,500 has to be spent out of the county, and it has to be quantified by actual heads and beds where the hotels have to be signed off. So it's not really going into our coffers. We use it to invest, like maybe in the Tampa Bay Times and their digital platform, or maybe we'll do radio stations in Gainesville, depending on what the entertainment is. And the fact that I hear that a lot, that the chamber makes a lot of money. I have a person and a half dedicated year-round to these festivals. So if you add that up, it's $100,000. I also have about $100,000 committed or spent before the gates open, and so we take all the risk on that. We fill up every hotel every time we do an event. So I just want to clarify for y'all that it's a good partnership that we've had with the TDC. And it's strictly, as you said it perfectly when you said it's a co-op situation. They feel like they're expanding their reach by piggybacking on our event versus us, taking their money to do it. So we could live with or without it, but it's available, and we apply. Jade applies every year. So one last thing. Oh, I want to say something good about Ken Cheek too, because Ken Cheek is great. I don't want to leave without saying he was here when I was where y'all are at, and through thick and thin and ups and downs and good boards and bad boards, and this is a good board, Ken has been a constant, as far as having that knowledge and been able to keep us going. So the budget, I'm not going to be here. We have a meeting with Senator Blaze. Our governmental affairs does, and we're working with getting y'all's to see where we align so that we can all go up in unison as we do in Tallahassee. But as I understood it, y'all were going to do .2 for roads and .2 for your employees, which we applaud. But just remember, as you're going through it, and I know most of y'all have said, I know Commissioner Bays, you had a family emergency, and you were out at the last meeting, but everybody said they'd like to see that number come down, and businesses are getting hit with a lot of stuff externally from the government, insurance and inflation. So I won't be here to speak on it, but I trust that y'all will whittle it down, or maybe you have a whittled down project already.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Okay, I did get 5 minutes, but I don't need it.
Thank you. Commissioner Finnegan.
I will thank Josh for that. I knew that the chamber was going to spend the money wisely, but I like the explanation because I think it's good for the people to hear, even if it's a wise purchase, just like I said, do they really need the money? And he explained how that partnership worked, and that's appreciated. And also remembering that the taxes affect small business owners too. And we want to keep our small businesses active and healthy in Citrus County. So it's going to be a heck of a meeting, but hopefully we'll get that whittled down together.
Thank you. And Josh, I'm a small business owner, and if my taxes go up a little bit and I get the roads paved, I'm okay with that. So, okay, Commissioner Davis,
I'm good. Thank you.
Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Bays? Okay, so that we completed the second open to the public. We have upcoming meetings, October 10th, 2023, 1 p.m. here, a regular meeting for the BOCC. October 24th, 2023, at 1 p.m., regular meeting for the BOCC. We have a regular meeting November 14th, 2023, at 1 p.m. right here in this building and in this room. We have upcoming workshops and special events. The Citrus Elected Leadership Summit is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, at 9 a.m. at the Withlacoochee Technical College in Inverness. And I'm going to call a recess because we have a 5:01 public hearing T1. So take a recess at this time. Thank you.